we are going to talk a little bit about, how conservatives whine about interviews not being fair or being too savage. Like, oh my gosh, the mod was so unfair to the belligerent, mouthy president who refused to answer questions. We're going to take a look at a fun interview coming out of New Zealand. You might have seen it making the rounds already. It's a nice, fun, cathartic interview and a peek at what our media landscape could be like if our journalists were actually the hard-hitting types that Republicans and conservatives make them out to be. All right? So with that said, we're going to launch into this. The only background you really need to know, aside from that, is that this lady, this journalist lady right here, is interviewing one of the main losers in New Zealand's elections. The Conservative Party, what's the technical phrase? Got blown the fuck out in the elections. And this is her interview with one of the losers. All right?
After a decade in politics, former National MP Jamie Lee Ross is out of Parliament. The Advance NZ co-leader joins me now. Jamie Lee, you just described yourself as a loser. You are out of National, out of Parliament, out of botany. Your political career is in tatters. Do you have any regrets?
Look, we gave it a good go this time round. We put together a new party in just a few months' time. We only gathered 1% of the vote. It clearly wasn't enough, but I've enjoyed the opportunity to work with all the people that I have with Advance New Zealand.
Do you want to have another crack at answering that? Because I just asked you if you have any regrets. You've just been part of a political movement which has been peddling misinformation during the election campaign. Do you have any regrets?
No, I think we were asking some hard questions about the direction of COVID-19. If you're asking about regrets throughout the whole 3-year term, of course, we could have all done things a lot differently and a lot better back in 2018, but we're here now. We made our bed and we just moved forward.
I want to focus on the strategy. Look, why on earth did you get into bed with Billy Te Kahika?
I could see that there was a lot of growth on social media. There was a lot of growth in the number of people coming along and looking at it.
Purely political ambition.
No,
you sold your soul for political ambition.
I could see that there was people out there who were asking questions around things that I believe in too, around freedom and sovereignty for New Zealand.
And a pandemic.
No, that is nothing. I've never said that, Tova.
You haven't, but he has.
I've never said that. COVID-19 is a real virus, and we were asking questions about whether the country was going.
For reference, basically, he got into bed with a COVID-19 denialist and got absolutely destroyed in the elections, is now leaving politics entirely, I'm hoping that this is a foreshadowing of what might happen in America, okay? If we win the 2020 election, if we all collectively ride with Biden, if we vote and win the Senate, this is what we could be seeing in the United States. This is the kind of interview we could see. It's possible, guys. New Zealand is showing us the way forward. We can do it. We can do this, okay?
In the right direction.
You know exactly what you were doing. You were whipping up fear and hysteria among vulnerable communities.
Not at all. If you go and look at the mortality rate of COVID-19 compared to other flu epidemics,
I'm going to stop. No, I'm not. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear any of. I don't want to hear any of that rubbish.
What do you? Give me that and not allow me to answer.
Well, if you're going to come on the show and say things which are just factually incorrect, I can do that. Actually, politics is all you've known. What are you going to do? After this?
I think it's time for a rest. But look, I've enjoyed the decade that I've been in Parliament. I think it's been one where I've been able to serve my community of botany, and I've done that diligently. And the last 2 years wasn't what I expected when we had election 2017. But there's a whole lot of characters in the National Party too that I think will be looking back at this term and thinking they could have and should have done things a lot differently.
You said you do have some regrets from the 3-year parliamentary term, or perhaps more broadly in your political career. This might be the last time that you're on air, probably the last time that we'll invite you on. Are there any apologies that you want to issue to anyone?
I think we all in the National Party back in 2018 could have done things differently, and we should have. And that was probably the start of the decline for the National Party. Had we all done things differently, we'd all be in a different position. But it happened, we moved forward, and we focus on the future. That's what I'm doing now.
Do you take some responsibility for the drubbing that was served to the National Party last night?
Internally, back in early 2018, I was asking questions about whether the party was too negative, whether we should have been more aspirational, whether Simon Bridges was connecting with New Zealanders. I wasn't listened to internally. That was the falling out I had with Simon Bridges. Over time, it got worse and it blew out publicly. I was saying back then, though, the National Party wasn't connecting. Tonight, or last night, their 27% was because they weren't offering a vision. They weren't offering hope to New Zealanders, and Jacinda Ardern did.
Why did you stand down in Botany? Because all of the conversations that we had, you were still convinced that you were somehow going to win that seat. People have described you as a narcissist. It did almost seem like a kind of narcissistic belief that you could win the seat that was obviously going to go to Christopher Luxon. Why did you stand down?
You're just rolling out all the terms, aren't you?
Why did you stand down?
I wanted to focus on the nationwide campaign with Advance New Zealand. We had 62 brand new candidates and I was doing that. Had I stayed in Botany, I probably would have taken so much vote off Luxon that Labour would have won the seat. So I guess my final gift to the National Party was giving them Christopher Luxon.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Former National MP Jamie Lee Ross.
Oh, we could have this, guys. We could be this. We could be here. But y'all playing. We need to ride with Biden, guys. We need to go riding with Biden so that we can be, this can be America. So that we can have a hard-hitting journalist who's actually willing to talk to liars and call them liars on national television. And we could be that. We could live in that country, guys. We could do that. It's not a huge goal to be able to call liars liars on national television. But first, we need to get Donald Trump out of office. One of the single greatest sources of misinformation in our modern age, and we need to get him out, and we need to win the Senate. Let's take a quick look at the 538. Let's take a look at how we're doing, okay? Let's take a look at how we're doing. We are doing even better than we have been in the past. Look at this. Biden is favored to win 12 in 100 simulations. Trump wins 87 out of 100. Biden wins. There is one simulation in which it is a dead tie. This is not an excuse to be apathetic or to decide to vote for Howie Hawkins or whatever state you are living in. You should vote for Biden. I think that is what we need now in an election where there is a high likelihood for electoral fuckery. We need as many people as possible to make it clear that Biden has the mandate of the people. That will make it much harder if the election goes to court. It'll make it much harder if the military has to make a decision about who's able to stay in office. We all need to ride with Biden, okay? And I think if we scroll down, we can see the yeah. Oh, look, here's how the forecast has changed. Biden has only been going up lately. Aside from the very small dip right here. Awesome. Is there a... the Senate forecast. Here we go. And currently, we have an 80% chance of holding between 48 and 55 seats. So there is currently a 75% chance that Democrats win control of the Senate. That's a pretty good chance, guys. But again, this is not the time to throw away your vote on the marijuana legalization party or whatever. Vote for Democratic senators, guys. I think that is super important to keep in mind. We need to purge our system of these lying, misinformation peddling, fascist kowtowing conservatives. There's no place in a functional democratic government for these people who at every turn are willing to subvert the law, are willing to subvert the political process, are willing to lie, cheat, and steal elections. We need to maintain our bourgeois democracy so that we can, continue forward and try and make the changes necessary to make our country better and better, step by step. All right. And to that end, I just want to do a little segment here